Another thing I wanted to talk about here is some breaking news that I'm personally excited about. Bill Gates and Melinda Gates are getting divorced, which, shocker. You know, I don't, like, people, how old is Bill Gates? I don't understand how, like, people that are in, like, that are billionaires, that are older, 65. I don't understand, like, if you're 65, like, why even get divorced? Why don't you just, like, move into different mansions and fuck who you want? I don't understand going through the hassle of the paperwork and the divorce and all that kind of stuff when you're, like, a billionaire, when, let's be honest, you're probably flying on Epstein's jet to islands to have orgies anyway. Why don't you just do that on separate jets at different dates, you know? I don't understand why you would get divorced. Why don't you just act like you're single and then say, yeah, we're not doing it anymore? I read a great conspiracy theory on Twitter saying that a reason why sometimes billionaires, Jeff Bezos included, will get divorced is, first of all, they will break up years and years and years before they officially get divorced on paper, right? Because getting divorced means splitting up assets and doing all of that stuff. And that's something that just has to happen, especially if you have shares and run businesses and are like a billionaire, right? You have to figure that stuff out if you get divorced. It is just how it works. So a conspiracy theory I read, the idea is, if I'm a billionaire, I have lots of stocks and property and all this kind of stuff, and I hate my wife. So instead of getting divorced when we both decide to break up, we both decide to break up, and then we wait for the perfect market conditions to actually file the paperwork for the divorce. Perfect market conditions like, for example, post-pandemic, the stock market being at all-time highs, and me not being able to sell my shares without tanking the price because I own so many that people could accuse me of insider trading or maybe I have to provide notice or all of these other legal reasons that stop me from selling giant positions in businesses to make money without alerting the rest of the world and causing crashes or getting myself in legal trouble. Instead, what I can do is file for divorce with my wife, whom I hate, and I broke up with many years ago, and then the courts will force me to liquidate most of my stock positions so we can turn our stocks and shares into cash and split that up. And I actually make more money doing that than I do by getting potentially in trouble for selling too much shit. So that's the conspiracy theory, that maybe these guys have been single for a long time and they're just filing for divorce now when it's the perfect time to sell their shares. And the most legal way to do that without getting in trouble is by getting a court to order them to do it. Now, I'm not saying that's what Bill Gates has done, but I am saying that's what I would do if I were him. But I love this little article about the Bill Gates divorce, which again was in the New York Times, but I'm looking at a version of this that's done by Fox News because I find that funny. Let's see what they've omitted. I was reading about their relationship because I'm very interested in basically starting a relationship with Melinda Gates. That's my ultimate goal here. Is Melinda, if you're listening, I know you're a fan of the show. If you are listening, I am really, really, really into advanced MILFs with big bank accounts, and I think that really we could start a beautiful relationship. I mean, I'm not going to need that much of your money, and I can provide you with a lot of time. I'm young. I'm 27. I'm in my prime. I've been manscaping. I have a discount code, Spears, 20% off and free shipping. Every single person that we bring into the relationship, I know you're into the strange orgies on the islands. Me, not so much the underage stuff, but we can negotiate something to exclude me from those and include me in the other stuff. I think that I could be the perfect partner for you. All it would take is a significant portion of your personal wealth. Email me. I know you have my email. Let's talk. But I love this little thing that I discovered in this years ago, in like the 70s, literally. This person wrote an article about Bill Gates and his relationship with his wife. Sorry, this wasn't the 70s. This was like the 90s this was written. 1997 this was written. And apparently Bill Gates, before he married Melinda, his now ex-wife, He negotiated into the contract with his wife that once a year he could take a holiday with his ex-girlfriend. And that's just fucking sick. And the reason why, right? Let me find this thing. Gates' relationship, the tech honcho was allowed by his wife to spend time with an ex-girlfriend thanks to a built-in arrangement Bill had with Melinda prior to the now former pair exchanging nuptials in Hawaii in 1994. The negotiated consideration said that he and software entrepreneur and venture capitalist Ann Winblad would be able to jet off on an annual weekend getaways with each other to pick each other's brains and bask in the old times they shared while creating new memories of their own. Yeah, that's all they were doing, studying, going on a little study trip and talking about old times. I think that Bill Gates might be inserting his Microsoft in this woman in the holiday home. I think that's what they're really up to, right? And I love that the reason he said that he had to do this was because when he was dating this other girl, they would do this once a year. You know, like imagine saying to your partner that you're currently with, going, look, I love you and you're the love of my life and I want to marry you, but I did have this tradition with my ex-girlfriend where once a month I would have sex with her when I was in a relationship with her, and I just really love you and I want to marry you, but I do want to keep the tradition that me and my ex had where once a month we would do anal. And I understand that might seem a little bit like an encroachment on the relationship that I have with you, but it is a tradition that I had with my ex. Once a month we did anal. And I just want to say that, you know, if you can't let me do that once a month with my ex, I don't see a future for us. That's some shit that you can only negotiate into your marriage if you also have $1 billion in your in your bank account. That's inspiring. Now I understand why so many people want to become billionaires. Because if you have $1 million, cool. You got $1 million. What are you going to spend that on? A house? You can't even really get a house for that anymore in Australia. What are you going to buy? A car? Cool. That's like 10% of it gone. If you have $1 billion, yeah, you're allowed to have another girlfriend, but only on the holidays, you know? Imagine the first trillionaire. He's going to have 10 girlfriends. Something to think about.